I am the motherfucking rooster. Fuck the Queen of England.
Glug, 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 glug.
I stopped believing in God when I realised it was just dog spelled backwards. Welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon. I'm Max. I'm pouring a beer.
I'm Neil from The In-Betweeners.
And I'm Darcy, fascinated at Max pouring a beer.
How
It was very nicely done.
the frick are we?
Yeah, alright. How are you doing?
Yeah, alright. I was going to swear then. I was going to say the bad F word. Not the bad F word, but the other bad F words. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But then I was like, why? Why not?
Yeah, it doesn't stop us normally.
No.
This is where Max goes, and this week we're sponsored by no swearing.
we have no sponsors. We make no money. So what's
Not yet.
Why not? If we market ourselves as a podcast that don't swear, we might get companies coming to us.
Yeah.
I heard you don't swear. Here, we will support you.
That's actually how it works. Disney will never support us though, because
Well, they say you're not supposed to swear in the first 2 minutes of a YouTube video because you can be demonetized for it.
We're not being monetized in the first place, though.
No, but we
Yeah, that's
could
true.
be.
But we could. Maybe this is the one.
well, we do put this on YouTube, don't we? So in theory,
We're everywhere.
it's not a bad idea actually.
In 10 years, we'll make enough money to reach the payment threshold.
Which is like £5, isn't it?
£60.
Cool. So
Nuts.
just go on and donate to our Patreon for that to happen.
The one
Yeah.
that doesn't exist yet. Just
No.
keep watching these videos over and over again. Just put them on while you're in sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
Just-
not? You're at work, you just pop
Just
it
put it
on.
on rotation.
You don't
Yeah.
even have to like it. You can just mute it.
Yeah. Don't even listen to
Just
it.
have it on your phone and just mute it and just plug your phone into an outlet.
Yeah.
You're all right. It's fine.
What Justin Bieber got all his fans to do when that song Yummy came out. It was if you're a real fan, you'll listen to it on loop with the sound off because it counts as a stream. It's you'll listen to it, you'll have it on while you sleep, just on loop at all times to get the streams up.
I
know people have done that.
just blanked out everything you said after you said his song Yummy. I was like, what the
Oh, were
fuck?
you traumatized by that song,
I've
Yummy?
already broken out. Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, that song's not
Yummy?
very good. But it gets stuck in your head. And now I've got it in my head, so thank you.
Well, I've never heard it,
You're better off
Yeah,
not hearing
don't
it.
worry.
It's really bad.
but I have heard about this new movie that's coming out next year, and they've actually set a date for it, the prequel to the Hunger Games
Oh, yeah.
movies. The next one that they're doing for some reason, because Lionsgate have nothing anymore. This was inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
We all seen the trailer?
No.
Oh, no, I didn't
No.
even know there was a trailer.
There's a trailer.
Oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, and it's not really a trailer.
Oh.
It's like...
Is it a teaser trailer?
No, it's like...
A trailer.
It's all computer animated, and it goes across this kind of snake that's it's going, and then there's a bird there, and the bird. If you know the Hunger Games movies, there's
The
a
hummingbird thing.
mockingjay,
Oh, okay.
which is a symbol in that. So it's here's a mockingjay, but I think it was a mockingjay, and then also a snake that goes into it, and it's called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I found it really funny when. Because sometimes trailers put words on the screen. It's you get ready, and then it's new do 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 for the new do 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 Hunger Games, and you're like, whoa! It was some people are songbirds, some people are snakes, and it was what the fuck is going on?
I bet
It
that
was the
rendition was
worst
better.
tagline ever. It was so bad.
It seems very on the nose as well. Imagine having a trailer and it's just here's some songbirds
Yeah.
and here's some snakes.
What's
okay.
this one called?
Yeah, what could this be about?
Well, what does it matter? Songbirds and Snakes. The Ballad of Buster Songbirds and Snakes. I don't know. I didn't want them to make this.
What? I've never seen any of them, so I don't even know what this is meant to be. How do you do a prequel? How's this work?
I do it about the making of the Hunger Games.
It's just a
them-
documentary about how they made those movies.
It's based
Is it
on
actually?
no,
Yeah. Fucking
It's-
hell,
it's
Chris.
based on a book.
I had her in the palm of my hand. Darcy was like putty in my fingers. I could have
Chris just didn't want it
sold
to
her on the
happen.
idea that it was a documentary. Yeah, no, they could do it. It's like the movies are about like the kids go into the arena and they fight.
Yeah, there's
and
battle royale
die.
shit. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's probably going to be like, here's how that started. Probably, I feel like if they don't do it, or if they don't do that, like what's the point?
Oh yeah, so is
That's
it
like
like
the only story they can tell. That's all they have.
Yeah, is it meant to explain how the world became like this apocalyptic
And be like,
wasteland or something?
what are they going to do? Like, when your children are going to fight and kill each other, that's how it's going to be. Everyone's just be like, I don't really fancy that though. I don't really want to do that. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated about how they're going to pull this off. Can't wait to see it. I actually don't mind those Hunger Games movies. I like the second one. That was the good one.
Yeah, that was the one I remember really liking when they
Mhm.
came out.
It's just well done. It's just well directed, very well, and it's like it's all or shit after that. That's the only one worth watching, I think. And you can watch that one like just alone, and it will make sense. I think probably.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe. I don't really remember it at all.
No, they're like they're in the game. There's like another one. They're going again. Like, oh man, how are we gonna get Jennifer Lawrence in this next one? Oh, just put her in again. Do another Hunger Games. That's what that one is, and it's good. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on about this. Whatever. November next year. Can't wait. Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe by then we'll actually have the Hunger Games come up on the marathon wheel.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be I don't know if that'd be an interesting one to do. It's just, I don't know. What can we say about it, really? We'll see. So sometimes, like, people watch them, like, back in the day and they'll be like, those were great. But then, like, they haven't watched them since. Those are, like, some pretty old movies now. Like that first one.
Yeah,
It's
it's like 10 years ago.
yeah. It's getting on. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Lionsgate, for that one. And everything else you're doing.
They're
Great.
doing other stuff.
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got that one. I don't know what else really. I don't know. They have no. They've got like they do the Saw movies, I guess.
Like clutching at straws here.
Maybe they'll do another Saw one. Probably they will.
I heard they are actually.
Yeah, they're always doing Saw
Yeah.
movies.
They'll never stop.
They definitely should have stopped.
Can't stop, won't stop. Talking about can't stop, won't stop. And that guy who had a movie out last year, the year before last. I don't know. Bo Burnham. We all watched his thing that he did from the outtakes, the
Yeah, the
Inside
outtake thing.
Outtakes.
Yeah.
It's like a documentary about how he made Inside that was on Netflix and everyone watched and they were like, this is so relatable. He's so great. And we reviewed it on the podcast back in the day.
Yeah,
we
many
all really
moons ago
liked
now.
it, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
We all-
great.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This one, it's not really anything. It's just like, here's how he made it.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of the like songs from that original special, but it's like here's him fucking up the takes, or
Yeah.
here's like an alternate take of it, or like here's it where like when it was still being like thought up and created.
Oh, and these weird little advert segments that he's got in there as well.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seemed
yeah.
like he was
Mm.
like he really wanted there to be like a fake advert inside. So it's like all the failed attempts of him doing that. There's like a few different like deleted scenes kind of things.
Yeah, it's fun. It's all right. It was a bit
Mhm.
long. It's like an hour long. I mean, I don't know. It's like almost like you can't level criticism against it because it's just like something he dumped on YouTube. He was like, here, have the deleted scenes. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I
yeah,
don't
so,
know.
yeah.
It is like also like feature length.
Yeah, there's
So
no-
it is kind of like a documentary.
yeah, there's not a lot to say about it either because it's the outtakes. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't in the original for a reason. So what is there to say other than okay, these things
Yeah.
are in the film,
Like,
sure.
you could have made it like episodic or like just
Mm.
like dump a few videos on the YouTube.
yeah, like
here
a
you go.
couple clips or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it didn't have to be a whole thing.
It dragged on a little bit. I do like some of the songs he cut out though, and probably like the parts I was kind of falling asleep at were like here's a song from the first one. I'm like, yeah, I know. But the new songs, like some of them are alright. I don't really. He like also uploaded them to like Spotify, I think.
Yeah, he did like a deluxe edition.
It is a deluxe one, yeah.
I don't even remember the songs that he even
Yeah,
did.
the
to be
chicken
honest.
one at the end. That was nice.
What
I liked
chicken
that one.
song?
Singing about chickens.
Yeah. He sang about chickens. I think the best ones were like the Joe Biden one that went on for like 1 minute. That was great. It was like a club anthem where he was singing about Joe Biden. And then the only other one that I kind of really remember was like the one where like he's fighting with his girlfriend. It was like a song where he was like, she took his dumpling or something.
Oh yeah.
It was like about living with someone for 5 years, you know.
You owe me a new dumpling.
Yeah.
Or a dumpling equivalent.
It was good.
There was a
one.
couple additions to the Jeffrey Bezos saga.
Yeah, I didn't really care for those, to be honest. Or maybe you did, I don't know.
No, I was just kind of like, okay, he did more of these.
Yeah. I like how many we get in the original one. I guess I kind of wanted to watch the Inside again. When I saw this, I was like, that's probably what he wants, though. He wants everybody.
Maybe.
He is Inside again. Everyone's like, I love that. I'm going to go watch Inside again.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Yeah, I loved it when it came out, but I don't know how it would hold up now, because I feel like at the time it was kind of like the zeitgeist, you know,
Yeah.
it was still kind of just coming out of lockdowns and COVID was still very much a thing, and it was kind of like, that was kind of what it was going for, and now where we're like so far removed from that now, I don't know how it would hold up.
Yeah, I feel like it should be like in one of those time capsules, like, hey guys, in 100 years from now, please watch Bo Burnham's Inside and write about what communities were like on planet Earth during 2020.
Write an essay based only on this movie.
It would be like in history lessons and stuff, which is kind of weird actually now when you really think about what it actually was. It wasn't even that long ago, but it feels so long ago.
Yeah.
Everything's very different now. But I still listen to that album, though. Still listen to that album all the time.
To be fair, some of this like slaps
really like
really hard.
those songs. I really love them. And he's a great vocalist, and he was a great. The songs are really well composed. I really like everything that he does. And I'm excited for anything he does next. You know, I think he's a great comedian.
Yeah, didn't they?
Musician.
Someone on TikTok put up like a little video of them like reacting to like a Bo Burnham thing that's apparently coming onto Netflix soon, but I don't remember what it was called or what it is. Yeah, apparently there's a new thing that's happening. You
want to tell us what that is? You should be like,
I don't
apparently
remember.
something's going to happen or whatever.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I'm inclined to not believe you then.
Speaking of good comedians, me and Darcy watched a new special from Norm Macdonald.
Naughty boy!
Yeah, obviously he passed away last year, and a couple of years ago he was working on a special the night before he went into...
it was an operation or something.
Yeah, for like a big procedure. It's like, I don't want to, possibly die tomorrow and not have my last special, like the ideas at least put down. So it's kind of just, he put out this special that was just kind of, he filmed himself, just sat at home with a microphone, no audience, doing this like comedy special.
I thought he was on a live stream or something.
Yeah, it was like on a Zoom recording with someone.
Because he was like reading out things on like a chat.
Yeah, so it's like this special that they put on Netflix, the first hour is like that, just him kind of doing this special, and all of it is really, really funny stuff. It's a massive shame it wasn't like that performed in front of an audience, because I think it would have been a lot funnier, like with the audience reactions. There's a few bits where he just like, obviously he's just waiting for like laughter and stuff, and it's a bit awkward, but you can't really fault him for that.
No.
And then the last half hour, we turned it off during it. It's literally just a bunch of comedians just breaking down why he was a great comedian.
It's like Dave Chappelle and David Spade and
Adam Sandler, Conan O'Brien.
Do you know what? I'll be honest, I didn't think it was that funny. If I'm totally honest, I don't really. It's gonna sound really awful because you know, rest in peace, guy. But I don't vibe with him, to be honest. I don't think he's funny, to be honest.
I feel like he's a really, really acquired taste.
Like sometimes
he did something that's very different.
Like sometimes it was funny. Like I was doing like a little chuckle, but most of it I was just sat there like just straight faced. I was like, okay, that's the joke.
Yeah,
I just didn't care.
I really, really love him. He's one of my favourite comedians. I think I love him because he kind of just subverts comedy. So much of his comedy is like anti-comedy in a way, where like kind of the point is the fact that the joke isn't funny, and it's just so like overly long and keeps going and going when it doesn't need to. And that's something I think is just genius.
I don't know. Yeah, so, some of it was funny, but nah, not for me. I don't like they were all like proper talking about him at the end of that special, and I was just like, did we watch the same thing? Like, I think I laughed like 3 times. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. But maybe it's just it's one of those things though. Comedy's subjective, so I just don't think I get him.
That's
to be
fair.
honest.
I just wanted to bring it up so we watched. If you're a
it's pretty
fan of his
recent.
comedy,
It only came out like the other day.
like
didn't it?
last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're a fan of his comedy, I'd recommend checking it out.
And if you're not, don't.
No.
I've obviously never heard him. I've never watched any of his comedy or anything. I don't really know who he is, to be honest. I always watch like a load of like comedians or like stand-up comedy on Netflix and like turn it off like 20 minutes in. It's like, this is sucky. This is bad.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I actually kind of suffer badly from that. I watch something for a little while and go, God, I'm actually not even into this.
There's a few I like, it's just that, like, most of it is meh.
I'll be honest, I did really like the last one that Dave Chappelle did. I'm going to get cancelled right now, but I thought it was all right.
Closer.
Yeah. I can't admit to that though, not really.
I thought that was all right, to be honest. I didn't mind that one.
I never watched it.
It was the only one I didn't turn off like halfway through.
I like his comedy.
I was laughing
I think
at
it's
a
just because
shock
of like the
quite a while.
controversy. I was like, I can't be fucking bothered.
Yeah, no, like, this is the thing, like, I was watching it, and there were some parts that were, like, genuinely funny, and then there were some parts I was just, like, laughing at of, like, pure, like,
uncomfy.
yeah, like, almost cringe. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I was still laughing, that's the thing. I was still like, ah, shit.
Yeah, I think Ricky Gervais got some flack for, like, his new special that came out on Netflix because of, like, trans jokes, and I was like, oh, it's just like, he wasn't like, I didn't get the feeling, I watched that special and I didn't get the feeling that he was like punching down or anything. It was just like the jokes that he's telling, they're not offensive, but they're not very funny. Those particular jokes, I don't know. His
Comedy's so strange because it's almost like you can tell it's supposed to be funny, but no one's laughing, if that makes sense. Like, oh, okay, the joke makes sense, ha ha, and then that's it. Like, there's no hearty chuckles from me.
Well, I think he wants to be controversial,
I mean,
he wants to cultivate that kind of image for himself.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, some comedians put it off. Like, I really liked Frankie Boyle. I actually thought he was genuinely really funny. Yeah. But he got cancelled for like everything.
Well,
that
Norm
he ever
Macdonald was actually a really good one for that, especially like back in the 90s when he was like on SNL. He got fired because he kept making jokes about O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah. I think with some comedians it works, and with some I feel like it's almost like cashing in on the idea that you can get cancelled. Like, oh look, Dave Chappelle's getting cancelled for these sorts of jokes that now Ricky Gervais is now trying to do. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I think James Acaster did like one of his specials. His like most recent one was like kind of poking fun at all that. It's like, I'm just edgy for the sake of being edgy, like that kind of thing.
Ricky Gervais, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
there was like a whole
Ricky
joke
Gervais.
about it.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. But he's a great comedian, and he doesn't really offend people. I think he's kind of one of our best ones.
Yeah,
he might be the best one.
Yeah, I think he's probably I
love that. We don't have that many good ones, to be honest. Though.
I think we've got better ones than America.
Oh,
God,
100%.
In terms of stand-up comedy, but it's still like not loads. Like it's sometimes you vibe with them and sometimes you don't. I watched like one the other night. It was like some American, like a whole thing was like, I'm a mom and I'm dressed in pink and I'm telling sex jokes. I was like, oh, fuck it. This is just not funny.
That sounds like something that like Amy Schumer would have done back in the day. You know, like how she always jokes about like, it's like that. It's like, oh yeah, like, look at me, I popped children out of my fanny. And it's like, ha 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 ha. Like, I understand that that's probably like not our like demographic here because, you know.
A lot of fanny jokes.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that stuff like Amy Schumer used to be like, oh, look at me, I'm a obnoxious. Fat slag or whatever she used to
obnoxious.
say. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get that kind of thing at all.
They love it in America. They love Amy Schumer being on the Oscars and saying extravagant things like coming down with in the Spider-Man thing, and it's funny because she's clumsy, haha. That's why people like her for the same reason people like Melissa McCarthy, I think. They're like in the same kind of boat.
Yeah.
I actually prefer Melissa McCarthy though, if I'm honest. But I don't really enjoy her either, but I prefer her. If that helps. Which not really like
No, I'll avoid anything that any of them are in at all costs, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although Amy Schumer was great in The Humans.
She was
really
actually,
good in that movie. But that's
Yeah,
like
but that's
that's a
'cause she was-
dramatic film.
Yeah, she was being serious. Like it was an action. Like
I mean, she had
think,
a couple of jokes, but it
I
was
think
like
she should stay away from like comedy and go into serious acting because she's not even a bad actress, to be
no,
honest.
she was really good in that movie.
She's just not funny, so she's just stick to being serious.
I mean, I think Melissa McCarthy's been the same. She's been good in like serious roles.
Name
Just-
one.
There's that film, Will You Ever Forgive Me? Is
Oh
it?
yeah, where she's
Can you
a
ever forgive me?
she's a writer,
Yeah, that one.
and
Apparently,
she
she's
like.
really great in that. I've not
Well, you say
actually seen
apparently,
it.
but
Yeah,
I've not seen it.
but I've heard she's good.
No,
in it.
why would you say that then? I mean, I liked her in. No, I don't know what I've seen.
She was
her in now.
nominated for an Oscar for Bridesmaids.
everyone loves Bridesmaids.
Actually, I kind of did like Bridesmaids.
Yeah, everyone loves Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Except me, because I've not watched it.
I watched it like the other year. I didn't like it.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of gross.
I
though.
listened to like a podcast and everyone was like, I love Bridesmaids. Bridesmaids is the best movie ever made, ever, forever. I was like, I gotta watch Bridesmaids. And I watched it and I was like, they shit on the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of American comedy there.
Yeah.
I must say though, if you actually think that Bridesmaids is like the best movie ever made, I feel like you need to actually go and like watch some movies.
Yeah, I know.
You'll
it's
need to
like-
fucking watch a Tarkovsky movie if you think Bridesmaids is the best movie ever.
Just anything else.
I know people loved it when it came out. I don't know if it's got much of a like big fan base now.
What,
but
Bridesmaids?
yeah,
I don't
But I
really know
don't
anyone that's
know.
seen it, if I'm totally
Oh,
honest.
I feel like people still love it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
B-O-B. Familiar?
He thinks the
Yeah.
earth is flat.
he does.
You know what else is flat? 2D animation. We watched Bob's Burgers, the movie. It was a movie about the show, the hit show, animated to a degree that it is within animation.
What
Bob's
are you
Burgers, the
talking-
movie.
what are you
It's
talking
about? A
about?
man.
He's just spitting facts.
It's about- if you can't handle it, get off the podcast. This is a movie about Bob. He is a man who sells burgers, and this movie is about that, sort of. If you've seen the Bob's Burgers show, it's just like they make burgers, they get up to funny, crazy antics. Ooh, I was watching it because I was like, whoa, I need a show to watch. And Darcy was like, watch Bob's Burgers. I was like, okay, I'll watch Bob's Burgers. And quite like the show. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a 20 minutes a pop. It's just like one of those background ones, you know?
Mm.
it's like easy watching. It's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
kind of thing you can have like on as a family while you're having your dinner, like
Yeah.
the Simpsons kind of thing.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's
not
fun.
like as smart and funny as like the older Simpsons stuff, but there's
What
some
is?
good writing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Nothing is as great as that.
I must say though that because it's like a background show, this does not work as a
Yeah.
movie.
Now you have to go into a theatre.
Mm.
It's completely dark, and all you have to do is watch this movie
And pay attention
and
to
pay
it.
attention to like what's happening. And it's just like an episode of the show, but longer.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
3 episodes stitched together.
I wouldn't
maybe
even say
even four.
3, maybe even like 2. Because there is a lot of like plots going on.
Mm.
None
Yeah.
of them really massively developed, but
No, he's got to sell burgers, and then the other one's like they got to
there's like a
solve
murder
a
mystery.
murder. Yeah.
Mm.
I keep forgetting. Like, was that like the movie, or was it
Yeah.
is it just like part of the show? I don't know. I didn't really like this movie. I'll be honest. I
No.
think on its own, the show itself is fine in the background, but like when I actually have to like look at it, I don't really latch onto it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't think the animation is like the style of animation is not for me. I think it's quite a little bit ugly.
Yeah, design wise, it seems to be going for like kind of like very crude, ugly sort of thing.
Mhm.
Seems like that's kind of intentional, and that's fine in like a short period of time. But when it's like in a long movie where you have to look at it for ages, and like they try and put like shadows and shading and stuff on it to kind of make it look a bit more high budget, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah, it looked really like
just really
sharp,
dark.
but like almost too sharp, too
Couldn't
dark,
really see what was happening.
too
Yeah.
bright, too contrasted. It was really bizarre, but
And I think it works in the show as well because like the characters don't really move around a lot. There's not really much going on in the show, but where they try and put a lot more movement and action into the characters and the way they move, it just looks really janky. None of the movements really look good. But there's multiple like dance sequences that just look so clunky and ugly.
They have to have the dance sequences because of there's in the show they have songs, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, there's always some weird song going
I don't have
on
a
in the
problem
show.
with the songs in the film. I think that's kind of fitting for
I didn't
the show.
either. I don't remember any of them.
No.
If I mean, that's not really a criticism of the film though, because I couldn't really tell you any of the songs from the show either. So it's not really.
Except for that one that's
it's
on
not really anything.
TikTok all the time.
What one that's on TikTok?
That if you're not really real, how do I feel this way, little baby thing?
Oh yeah, the one
we
that
all know
Linda
that one.
sings.
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I was having like a trouble like really paying attention as well because it is like its story is like very. Like I was thinking about the Simpsons movie, and the plot for the Simpsons movie is so like high stakes.
Yeah.
But with here, it's like you could just put that in an episode of the show and it would be like nothing. But like they actually differentiate in the Simpsons movie between like, here's the movie, here's why it's the movie, and here's the show. But in
Yeah.
this, it's like, here's a movie because Bob's Burgers is popular.
There's a joke at the beginning of the Simpsons movie where they're going to see the Itchy and Scratchy movie, and Homer like just stands up and he's like, "Why did we pay to watch something we could get at home on TV for free?"
Yeah.
And that was like kind of what I felt throughout the entirety of this movie. Like
Yeah.
the Simpsons movie, I feel like there's definitely a reason that is a movie. There is a lot going on. All the characters have their own arcs and they're like well developed. It is very heightened. There's a lot going on that I don't think they could have told in an episode or a few episodes because it's kind of like it's very action oriented what they're doing. You can't really show it on like a small budget TV show, whereas I didn't really feel that at all with this. And especially when this is like an hour 40, I feel like they definitely needed to do a lot more than they did
Yeah, this
to justify its existence.
Yeah, it could have just it literally could have just been an episode and it would have been fine. In fact, I think it might have worked better if it was an episode.
Yeah, it would have
or like
done.
you know, like how they have the two-parters sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fine, I think.
Yeah,
I
because
mean-
it would have trimmed out a lot of the fat. There was like a lot of
Yeah.
jokes that really don't hit at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's I like the fact that, you know me, I can moan about animation forever because, you know, I kind of want it to make this great revival or whatever. But like, it was cool to see it, but I think it just came out like too late as well. I think
Yeah,
like when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then you had to wait ages for it, and then it finally came out, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was announced like 6 or 7 years ago when the show was like at
at its peak.
like peak.
And now it's like 14 seasons in, and everyone's kind of gone, oh,
Yeah, everyone's
Bob's
like
Burgers.
grown tired of it. Like, I don't think the quality of the show has massively dipped, but it's like gotten to the point now where every episode is kind of like just the same.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of stabilized. Like, there's no harm in that because, you know, it hasn't quite gotten to Simpsons levels of disastrous.
No,
but,
they're not doing anything cringy. It's like, I feel like it's more of a background show now than ever.
Yeah.
There's very few points when we're watching it where I'm like, oh my God, that was actually a really great episode.
Yeah,
like there
I've-
was maybe when we started it.
Yeah, I think there's
But-
just a lot of like timing issues as well. Like, honestly, if this had come out a couple years ago, I reckon it would have been a lot, well, not even a lot better, but I think we would have felt different about it.
I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I don't. I mean, I might have maybe.
Maybe
I
the
dunno.
hype would have been there a bit
Yeah,
more for like
possibly.
a lot of people, but I mean, I hadn't even watched the show a couple of years ago, so
Well, I've been watching it for years, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I had a slight hope, but let's be honest, we all went into it thinking it was just gonna be a TV show film, and what did we expect?
Yeah.
A TV show film.
yeah, there's not really
know?
many great movies based on TV shows.
No, I wasn't
It
expecting
doesn't
a
mean
lot.
that they're not there. I mean, I really love the Simpsons movie. I
Mhm.
think that's a really great movie. I watched it again a couple of years ago and I was surprised at how well it holds up. The South Park movie is also great. The Beavis and Butthead movie is also really good. There's good like movies based on TV shows.
Mission
It's just-
Impossible.
Mission Impossible, yeah.
They're really milking that one.
Oh wow.
Get everything they can out of that one.
Yeah, why not? I suppose.
Yeah.
Jackass as well. That's gone on forever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, some things work and some things don't. I mean, given a different premise, would it have worked? Maybe.
Maybe
I
if there
don't
was more
know.
going on.
I think maybe it just needed a different plot or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't even think this is a bad movie per
No,
se.
I enjoyed it just as much as I thought I would.
I thought it was okay. I was bored a lot of the time, but I was never like pulling my hair out like I think Max was. He did not.
This is what I mean. When he said he didn't enjoy it, and I said no, I was literally going to say something along the lines of, I looked at Max and I sit next to Max for like nearly every single one of these films that we watch, and I can tell when he's not having a good time because it's just rotten all over him. Like his posture changes, his face is like, his head's in his hands. He's like going really loudly.
I can't contain it. Yeah.
Anytime we're doing a marathon now, I'll just look over at you guys to see if I can gauge your opinion on a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Max, it's like it speaks more than he does. Like he doesn't even have to say he's not having a good time. By the end of the film, he's like, that was shit, and I'm like, we all knew. Like me and Chris knew half an hour ago.
I really, really wasn't having it, and like it went on for so long. I wouldn't like have much of a problem with it if it respected my time a bit more and just like it tried to tell a better story or like a story that deserved this runtime. Yeah, but it didn't really.
I knew from like before we even got in, I was like, Max is definitely not going to enjoy this as much as me and Chris are. Yeah. And I kind of respect that because I can understand why someone might not enjoy it because it's just I think if you really like the characters and stuff, you're probably going to have a better time with this. But I think you have to be really into it. I like the characters. I
just don't like seeing them in like these high stakes situations or like just like put them in an hour and a half long movie when they're characters that work in 22-minute chunks. And like every character is voiced by H. John Benjamin, and it's like it's really noticeable in the show, but it's like double as noticeable in the movie. And I just don't know why they got him to voice like other characters that we hadn't seen before that weren't already established in the show. Because you could it's a movie, like isn't your budget a bit bigger? Like can't you just hire other voice actors to do different roles?
Yeah, because if you look away, there's like a couple of characters that sound almost exactly the same, and if you're not looking, you'd probably think, oh, is that Bob talking to himself? Because it just sounded the same.
I mean, in a show like The Simpsons, they have actors voicing the same actor voicing different characters, and like when I was a kid, I didn't really notice like at all. Now I can kind of know, like, in those earlier episodes and the earlier seasons, I can kind of notice it, but like the voice actors for that show they were so good that they could turn their voices into something else, and you could be like, this is the voice of this character.
Yeah,
now,
it's really versatile,
even though it's voiced by someone else.
I've always found that quite like a shame when you see voice actors in like other things and they don't really try to put on a different character's voice. So I don't know. You could probably hear Louise in something else that the voice actor's in and be like, oh, that sounds like Louise. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's that same sort of thing.
Does H. John Benjamin's voice.
Yeah, and Archer sounds exactly like Bob.
Yeah.
How weird.
I was like listening to an episode like the other day, I was watching an episode the other day, and there was a point in it where like they're at school, and then over the school tannoy, you hear H. John Benjamin's voice, but it's like high and nasally. And I was like, don't they know that that's their dad that's doing that? And then like it wasn't. It was like the school secretary or something. I was like, oh, it's just H. John Benjamin going, just going like putting on a bit more like head voice there and just like going a bit more nasally. And it's like it doesn't sound that different. You know?
Yeah, it's so bizarre because I just. You just think
he like Bob sounds the exact same as Archer in the show Archer.
That's what I'm saying. Like literally, if you
he doesn't put
Bob
on a
and
different
Archer
voice.
together, it's the same man.
There's an episode of Archer where it literally starts off as him undercover as Bob. Yeah, and like half the episode is literally a Bob's Burgers episode.
That's jokes.
Then I think it was like someone like Tom Kenny, who's like, okay, he's SpongeBob, who's a great character, and he's also like Ice King in Adventure Time. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like completely different. You know who the characters are.
I think you can hear him a little bit.
You can hear him a little bit, but he does distinguish his voice enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's something that is does that come with talent, or is that just something that that the showmakers just don't really care. They're like, oh yeah, no, that's fine,
No,
because
they
if
don't really care.
not, they just don't care. They'll be like, oh, you're just a throwaway character for like one line, so don't worry about it.
But then like H. John Benjamin also voices like vital characters to the show. Like Jimmy Jr. is like the voice of him as well.
And that sounds different.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just
why is Tina attracted to this little boy who sounds like her dad? That's weird.
A nasally version.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the only thing that really kept me going throughout this movie is the fact that I like the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching them, although I didn't really care about the story. I enjoyed spending time with these characters. I enjoyed the more like heart-filled, like emotional side of the film that you get into a bit. The whole plot about her, like how she got the bunny ears that she wears.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like they almost die and they're like having this heart to heart. I thought that was quite sweet.
That was actually terrifying. Could you imagine being like buried alive in your car?
I mean, it's like a point where you're like, oh, they're definitely going to get out. You're just kind of waiting for that to happen. But
Well,
I was just waiting for her.
Yeah, that's one of the things
and I can't see anything because they're underground. It's TikTok. Just keep going.
It's
Just
also,
get out of it already.
Especially when you know there's like another season coming. Like, I don't know, it kind of doesn't
It's like
spoil it a little bit.
What are they
Maybe
going to do? Like kill these cartoon characters?
Yeah.
Bloody like kids kind of adult
like the
TV
bit
show.
in the
Yeah.
SpongeBob movie where SpongeBob and Patrick like dry up.
Oh yeah,
That's funny though. It's really funny. It's like that's actually quite emotional. I got quite emotional when that happened in the movie. It was like, oh my god.
yeah. I feel like because
They love each other so much.
you're like really invested in it. But like there was that woman in the theater who brought her little kid,
Yeah.
and I was like, so who's watching Bob's Burgers? You
Yeah,
or
the kids.
them?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They all love Bob's.
There was that group of people behind us that started cheering towards the end when was it Tina and Jimmy Jr.
when they
gonna
kiss.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh yeah,
about
and I
that.
laughed because I was just like, really? It was like the whole Kylo Ray thing all over again.
Yeah.
Oh, when everyone booed.
When everyone was like, boo. That's how I felt. I was like, boo.
Rise of Skywalker wishes it was Bob's Burger movie.
It does. Both equally as uninteresting.
This is better than Rise of Skywalker, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, that film was the only good. I don't know.
but it's chalk and cheese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, would you rather be stabbed or shot?
That's not true.
Neither are fantastic options.
I'd watch Bob's Burgers again sooner than I'd watch The Rise of Skywalker, if only because Bob's Burgers is shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I
I'd
still
probably
enjoyed it though.
I think I'd probably find The Rise of Skywalker funny if I watched it again, but I just can't be bothered to watch it again.
No, the only reason I enjoyed that film was because of like when you go into a cinema packed full of people and they're all like cheering or booing or crying or laughing.
No one was
I find that so
cheering.
funny.
Everyone was booing.
Oh, you know what I mean.
There was,
In
like-
general.
Except for there was this guy in front of us who seemed to be really into it. And he was like, there's the bit where you think Chewbacca's like died and he threw his arms up in the air and it was so funny.
Do you think that's the same guy that
Yeah.
goes around to all of our
No, 'cause that was in
screenings?
Luton. Unless he travelled.
Oh God, people like that everywhere, man. I completely. Oh Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a good time, wasn't
Ratings, I
Yeah,
guess.
should we rate
Have we
it?
got anything else to add?
No.
it? Max has already finished this.
I think I had a couple more things to bring
I
up.
know.
but
I feel
go on then.
I
yeah,
can't be bothered.
I feel like I've shat on it quite a lot, but I did actually enjoy it for what it's worth because it was exactly how I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd end that segment off with I didn't actually hate it.
No, I didn't hate it.
Sorry for
It was-
chatting so much smack
It was
about
a
it.
fine movie, I guess. I don't think I'd ever watch it again.
I don't think I would either.
It was all right. I feel like it would have been. I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more if it was like a Disney Plus like original. If they just dumped on there.
Yeah, they should have just done a
Like,
Chip and Dale and just
a
left it
couple
on
of years
Disney
ago, they did
Plus.
that with that Phineas and Ferb movie. That was meant to be a big theatrical
Mhm.
thing, and then because of COVID, they were like, "Yeah, whatever. Let's just shit this on Disney Plus."
I don't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all right as well. That was probably slightly better than this, I guess. But
It was also like really obvious, like the plot twist is like really obvious what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
everything's obvious.
Yeah. They like
Yeah, but
introduce a new character and it's like, well, it's not, the murderer isn't going to be the characters that we already know from the show. It's going to be this new character they've just brought in that we've never seen before, right?
Yeah, and we'll never see again,
Yeah,
probably.
I would have respected it more if it was one of the main characters and you never see him in the show again.
I think that would
actually
actually-
been interesting.
Yeah, like, what if it was actually Mr. Fishoda? I think that would have been great.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is whatever. I give it like a 5 burgers out of 10.
Cool. Yeah, 4 burgers.
Oh, man. Got nothing left to
4
say,
burgers
boys.
out of 10.
Fine. 6 burgers out of 10.
Lovely. Now, we watched a guy make some movies into our eyeballs. His name is Steven Soderbergh. We all know Steven Soderbergh. Are we familiar with his movie? He's made a bloody lot of movies. I tell you that. This is the director who's everyone's like, oh my god, you seen that movie? Like when COVID hit, everyone was like, oh no, you seen that movie, Contagion? He directed that one.
He did.
It's not one of the ones we're looking at today.
No, it's also
God.
not one of the ones that I've seen. The only film I've seen of his is Ocean's 11.
Before this, I'd seen Contagion and Side Effects before.
Mhm.
I really did not like Contagion. I thought it was super, super boring.
Oh, really?
I quite like Contagion. I watched it, but maybe because I watched it like in the pandemic.
Yeah, I think
so did I. I was just not interested.
But that was everyone's hype, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They
I
were
was
like, oh,
like-
this is so relatable.
I feel like during that film, I was like, there's some things I find really interesting, but a lot of it's like, why would I want to watch this when I could literally watch the news and get like the same experience?
Yeah, I could just go outside and the world is exactly like this film. I don't really like films that
Thanks.
really...
Why are you on this podcast then?
God damn. No, I don't particularly enjoy films that kind of reflect like the current climate. Like if I watch a film, I either want to relate to it in like a good or emotional way, or like in a I can escape what's actually happening in the world, rather than, oh god, Contagion is basically like what's happening in the world now. I don't want to remember what's happening. I want to forget what's happening.
Yeah.
Give me a Blade Runner instead.
Soderbergh is a director who's been doing a lot for a long time.
Yeah. I think he can be quite hit or miss, for me at least. Sometimes a movie like... I think I've seen these 3 movies and I've seen Contagion, and he just strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, sometimes he's like not really into it, but sometimes he's like really into it.
Yeah. For me, I feel like he's one of those guys who's like, he's a good director, but he's not someone who where, like, you watch one of his movies and you're like, that's a Soderbergh movie. He's like one of those guys where, yeah, he's definitely got a lot of talent and he's very good at what he does. He just doesn't really have his own unique flair.
Yeah, they're not very consistent in like theme or style, are they? Like they're all very different movies, which is a good thing sometimes. But yeah, I didn't even know who he even like. I've seen his movie, didn't even know who he was.
He makes a lot of serious movies. Like, here's a serious drama, and that's like his thing.
Here's a
He's done
Contagion.
a couple of comedies.
Yeah.
I think he did a horror movie a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
He had one out this year, actually, I think.
Oh, did he?
I don't know that it's been doing all that well, though.
No.
I haven't had I don't think we got it here. I don't
Probably
think we had
not.
it here.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. What
he
is
did
it?
that film a few years ago called Unsane, which is like a horror movie all shot on an iPhone.
Oh, the one that got infamous for being shot on an iPhone, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
No, everyone was
I think
like
I
taking
heard
the piss
about it.
out of it, basically.
Yeah, but we're not talking about any of those
We're not.
lame movies. We're talking about Sex, Lies and Videotape and Side Effects and Magic Mike, the first one. Take it away, Chris.
Yeah, so I picked his debut movie from 1989, Sex, Lies and Videotape. This film's about basically a group of these people. There's like 4 like main characters. One of them is his kink is he likes watching videotapes of women where he's filmed them and gotten them to like say their like sexual desires and their sexual experiences. He's impotent and that's like the only thing that he finds attractive. He returns into the life of a guy called John, and because of that ends up being involved with John's affair as well as his own relationship with his wife who is sexually repressed. That's kind of like the basic plot of the movie.
Yeah. It was, yeah. You got the sex, you got the lies, and you got the videotape.
Yeah.
It's all there. It does what it says on the package. It's in and out. It's out and in, and it goes, and it's like, it's okay. It's all right. It's like, it's quite. It felt low budget, like really low budget to me.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was.
It's like $1 million-ish. And I just, for the most part, I was getting very distracted by like the sound, because it's quite like, you always get like that, like just a constant noise in the background where it's like, here's this, and like they didn't get any, like they couldn't get anything to like cancel out the background noise. A lot of this is like very soft spoken, so like everyone's like speaking kind of like this, like they're in like an ASMR video or something. And I was like, what are they saying? We didn't have subtitles. I couldn't really understand what they were saying
Yeah.
sometimes.
Did we rent it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was like on
So,
Prime.
Yeah, like the Foley and just background noise is very loud, and Soderbergh even agreed with this. It came out on Criterion a few years ago, and one of the big draws about the Criterion is that they fixed the sound so you can actually hear the dialogue, and he has come out and said that he wants people to like just basically discount every single copy and print of the film that came out before the Criterion version, because he thinks they're all shit because of the sound.
Right, well, sorry, Stephen, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess just bear in mind, that's the one that we watched. It wasn't the Criterion one where they fixed everything. It was the shit one where they did not fix anything.
And we saw what we saw.
We can't take it back.
I don't really like this film, actually. Like, the more I think about it, the more I feel like I was trying to be diplomatic about it, because I thought, it's not that bad. Like, as far as films go, it's not a terrible film, but it's like, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the story, I didn't like really anything about it, to be honest. And
did
Chris
you
is
think
laughing.
we were loving it, so you were like scared and you're like, oh no, if I rate this badly they're going to judge me?
No, it's just I was struggling to. So, but for the first like half an hour or so, I was kind of vibing with it. I thought it was okay. Like, I thought it had like potential. Like, I know the characters were quite annoying, but I feel like that serves like its own purpose. Like, towards like the nearer the end of the film, like, you know, when you sort of understand the characters a bit better and you understand what they're doing, their motives, blah blah blah. But everyone was just talking like in whispers. I hate whispering. I didn't
say what you mean.
Like, I just, the more I think about it, like, the less I actually think I enjoyed it. And there were parts where I was literally falling asleep, and Chris looked over and went, "You look like you're about to fall asleep." And I was like, "To be honest, mate, I think I slept for the last 3 minutes of the film." Like,
Just
I don't
a very
remember.
quiet movie.
I don't
That's why.
remember.
Yeah.
Lulls you to sleep.
It's just.
It's interesting you say you liked what was happening in the first like half an hour and lost interest after that, because I was kind of like the complete opposite. Like, the opening of the movie, I was kind of like, I don't think I like this movie at all. And as it went on, there was something about it just like kind of drew me more and more in. By the end of it, I really, really liked this movie. I thought it was really great.
I thought there were some really cool aspects of it, like when they do like these shots of them, like side profiles, and they all look kind of like glowy and kind of like out of focus and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So there was like some visual aspects of it that I thought were nice, but what was the point of this? What was the point of this film? Please, someone tell me what the point of this movie was.
It's kind of going for like this like voyeur sort of feel. Like, because obviously the character of Graham kind of is like that. Like I said, he's impotent, and the only thing he finds like sexy is kind of watching back these videotapes, being like disconnected from actual people and watching these people like reveal their like sex lives, these things that are like private to them that they don't normally, you know, you wouldn't normally discuss with someone you don't know. And that's kind of something he finds like sexy, like almost prying in. And I felt like that's kind of what the whole film, I kind of felt like it was kind of going for. We were kind of prying into these things that normally you shouldn't be seeing. You shouldn't be like seeing about like these normal, just regular conversations about sex and relationships in a way that it does feel very, very natural. I felt the dialogue all felt really real, and it was just like multiple points where I felt like we were just watching things that we shouldn't be seeing.
It's taboo. It's taboo. You shouldn't be talking about sex, and you shouldn't be exploring sex, and you should keep these things quiet from anyone who's not your partner. There was like that line where Graham, Americans call Graham. I didn't know if you guys knew that. They were very strange over there. And there was a point where Graham says, he's like, I don't think you should take advice from anyone you haven't been sexually intimate with. I was like, that's terrible advice.
That is the worst advice I've ever heard.
He was giving that advice to so-and-so, Andy McDowell. She was like, that's gross. And it was just like, what is I don't know. My experience with this movie was kind of like Chris's, except just like really toned down. It was like, I don't really care about what's going on here. And it got me a little bit on board like throughout. I was like, all right, that's all right. But most of the time I was just like, I don't know that I was having like much of an emotional reaction to it. It was just like fucking just going past my ears. And I was like, that happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
what am I supposed to get out of this? Really?
I wasn't really having an emotional reaction or anything to it. I think the whole time I was like, okay, this is actually quite interesting. I'm intrigued by this. I wouldn't say I was like sucked in and like being emotionally like hit by it or anything. I don't know if that's what the film's kind of going for.
No, it's not. I think it's just trying to present ideas. But like Andy McDowell, who's like, she doesn't like sex.
She's very prude, isn't she? Well, not even prude.
She's frigid.
She just doesn't like.
She doesn't like sex, and she doesn't like people talking about sex. And
yeah, it's kind of like you don't know if it's that she doesn't like sex or whether it's that she's only had bad partners or
she hates her husband.
She does hate her husband.
Who's a massive cock.
He is, to be fair. Well, my favourite part of the whole watching experience was just Max going, God, I can't believe women are fighting over him. He's literally like the most unfuckable character here. He's so ugly.
Yeah.
And that actually made me chuckle. That was my favourite bit.
You really toe the line when you need your plot to hinge on like someone being attractive, because if you don't find a person attractive, well, I can't even see why other people would. It's like, you just lost me, right?
It kind of gave me like the Graduate vibes, you know, when the guy is like so unlikable and not even that attractive. You think, why are people falling over for you? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Business guy, maybe that's why they're attracted.
I mean, he had really nice teeth, because there was like, it sounds really weird, but there was like loads of like close-ups of like him talking on the phone, and you could only see like his side profile and his teeth, and I was like, he's got really nice eyebrows. Teeth.
Yeah,
he did have huge. He had like Charlie Simpson eyebrows. It was ridiculous. Like, it was just so bizarre. But I mean, I think the other thing that I liked about this film was where he actually like watches the tapes back.
Yeah,
that was like the only part that made me go, oh,
that was probably the best part.
Yeah, and he's just watching it. He's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, and I also found the scenes where he's like filming like these tapes quite interesting as well. I think mostly because I just like the way they discuss like this subject of sex and their experiences. I feel like in a lot of other movies they'd be unnecessarily graphic or maybe silly or childish and kind of treat it as if it was like this joke or this like gross thing, whereas it just feels very natural. They're kind of having this very mature, normal conversation about it, like I feel like anyone would have, whereas I don't think you really see that much in films.
Isn't that I feel like that's the point that they're kind of trying to get across, is that sex doesn't have to be something that you can't talk about or should be, I don't know, hidden behind closed doors or some shit, because most people do it, don't they? So it's like talking about having a shit. Everyone's shit. So
that's like one of my favourite things about it.
I would say my favourite thing is shit.
Yeah, they do kind of point that like a lot of people I feel like are very disconnected when it comes to, you know, their sexuality or like how they feel about sex, and aren't afraid to have these conversations. Like you've got Andy McDowell's character who's having these conversations with her therapist, who maybe isn't really saying the right things, or is maybe treating it a bit silly, where she kind of just needs someone to, you know, justify what she's saying that there's nothing wrong to feel the way she does. And that's kind of what Graham is doing later on when she like finally snaps and films a tape with him. He kind of like makes all of her thoughts, you know, actually justified.
I quite liked her as a character though.
Yeah,
I think she was interesting. I don't like agree with like her viewpoint, but it it's interesting to have a character that is so like completely opposite of like what you believe, but like you completely understand where they're coming from. Darcy's seen another cat. Second episode in a row. But yeah, I really liked it. I think Anna McDowell, she pulled off the performance very well. You got that she was like very like maybe I think religion played a part for her because she was like wearing a cross around her neck.
I was thinking that.
Something about
I was thinking maybe she like is very sacred
that
to
taboo, you know?
Yeah, like you know how
you shouldn't have sex with people like you're not.
Or you
like,
should, yeah, like you're not all married to or whatever.
With, like no sex before marriage kind of thing. Maybe that was kind of the kind of thing that she believed, or like the kind of vibes that I got from her.
Interestingly, she shows up in Magic Mike XXL and plays a very, very similar character.
No, she doesn't.
She's kind of like, she's a character, shows up in a party, is like, I've only ever had sex with my husband and he's turned out gay. I've never had sex with anyone else.
Sorry. Darcy, I'm going to close that blind if you don't stop looking at that fucking cat.
It's a tuxedo cat. It's really cute.
I swear to God, you see it.
I can't
every time you come
see
here.
it anymore. I can't see it anymore.
Well, good.
Well, whoever that cat is, I want to pet them. They're really cute. And if it comes back this way, you probably are going to have to shut the blinds. Sorry, guys. I have problems. Yeah. So this happens all the time.
I think Anne's sister was like very much the opposite of her as well.
Yeah, I kind of like that though, because I feel like, I don't know about you guys like specifically, but I know me and my sister are quite like opposite ends of like the spectrum in like certain aspects, and I'm like, do you know what? I could see that being like a real like sister dynamic. Like one of them is just slightly more like, I don't know, like it's just like two completely different people. Yeah. I just love that.
When I think about like families and like, what do you tell your family of like sexual things, or like do you discuss these things with your family? Do you guys talk to your like, I don't know, like not parents, because they weren't going for like a parent angle, because it was more like their sisters. So like personally, I don't really talk to my siblings about it, you know. It's just
no. And it's not even like for me. It's more. It's less like taboo because I don't find it weird to talk about that kind of thing with like other people.
No.
But when it's like your own relatives, I don't know what it is, but something psychological goes off in my brain that if I'm talking about it, or if they were talking about it, I don't want to think about them doing that or like imagine it, if that makes sense. Because once you start like talking about it, you kind of start, and I don't really want to think that. And I'm pretty sure my sister wouldn't want to imagine me doing something like that. No. Do you know what I mean? It's just, but if it wasn't like a relative, I wouldn't mind. But because I'm related to them, I feel like it'd be a bit weird.
Maybe. I mean, I have had like those conversations with some family members before. Not really, like my parents, I don't think. My dad was like a little bit open with it, like sometimes, but like not really my mum. I wouldn't have those conversations with her. But maybe with my siblings or like cousins, you know? And because like we're from like the same generation, I don't know, maybe it's like similar kind of experiences. But like with friends, I think you could be a bit more open because it's like there's not that like blood tie there, or like
that's what I mean. I just but
nobody has friends in this movie. Nobody's friends with anyone.
No, but
I think now just generally we're in a place where it's not really a taboo subject anymore. I think the conversation is there a lot more. I think
this one came out what? 1989.
Yeah.
So
oh, okay.
I think the culture's shifted a lot.
Yeah, I could understand that actually, especially if you got the Christian angle involved as well. Maybe she just doesn't feel comfortable talking about that kind of thing with her sister because she's within belief.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. But I like the fact that it opens up the discussion though. It's hey, why do we care so much? And then you think, yeah, why do we give a shit so much?
The movie itself is very intimate, and it's like and you got a lot of close-up shots and of people's faces, and it's like they're communicating like the expressions on their faces, and I think Steven Soderbergh, he wants to convey a feeling through like the actors, actually, and, like, what they're feeling in their eyes, and like
Speaking
the facial
of
expressions.
Can we quickly just mention that weird thing that the film was doing when they were on the phone with each other, but it sounded like they just overlaid like ghosts.
Just fine audio.
That was a big problem with the sound there. It's just the way it's mixed.
Oh, so it was supposed to sound like it was coming from the phone?
No, I don't know. It's just like
because it
the way
sounded
it's
like
mixed. The voices are too loud.
No,
Yeah.
because it sounded like it was coming from like the walls
might
or
as well
something.
have
Yeah,
just,
like it
like,
might as well have just been.
stood next to each other. I
Yeah, it
guess.
was so.
They didn't
creepy.
do anything to like make it sound like it was what the character was hearing or coming from the phone.
Yeah, that was weird. Why not just like pan over or do like a those half shots or whatever? Just why was it like that? It's just so weird.
I wouldn't have much of a problem with it if they kept doing it, or like they were like, this is a purposeful decision that we're doing, and it's like you can make weird decisions with these kinds of things. It's just like, yeah, and they're just going to be talking to each other, and it's just like the audio sounds like they're just talking to each other in the same room, and then maybe they could have like a few more telephone conversations or something, and it's like, this is what we're going for. But I don't know, I think it happened like once. Didn't really.
Oh, it happened a couple of times.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
But
it's just like, eh.
it wasn't like a massive issue. I just thought it was really bizarre, and I was like, I'm gonna bring that up because I just don't understand that at all.
I really liked you were criticizing Darcy, the like tone, how it's like very quiet and it's kind of slow. I actually really liked that of the film. It made it feel much more intimate.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I do like a lot of films that do kind of go for that style anyway. Like we talked about our film Broken Flowers not that long ago, and that film was kind of like that. And a lot of the directors, Jarmusch's movies are like that. There's like this whole like film like movement called mumblecore. I don't think it's really around anymore, but like a lot of films by like Noah Baumbach and stuff are part of that. They're also like films that don't really have much of a story. They're just kind of characters talking and like mumbling and talking very quietly. I think it's just, I've really liked that style
Who
of
named
filmmaking.
it that?
You don't need to be like overly theatrical with like the way you deliver lines. I think that's why I like Noah Baumbach, because it just feels like people having conversations. That's why I appreciate movies like Marriage Story or like My Dinner with Andre or like those kinds of things. It's just like people having conversations, and it feels a bit more real, and you get like that kind of grit to it when it feels a bit more real. It feels a bit more realistic. You're like, this could actually happen.
I really felt that with this as well. I felt like the dialogues felt incredibly natural, and the way the characters delivered it, like the actors wise, felt natural as well. There was like a couple bits where I was like, okay, I feel like that delivery was a little bit clunky, but especially James Spader in the movie, I feel like he really is going for the realistic sort of awkward angle, and he is fantastic in the movie, I think.
Yeah,
I got like a bad vibe from him immediately. I was like, Graham, I don't like this guy. Immediately, I'm like, from the offset, I don't like this guy, and he just proved time and time again why I don't like him.
It was like one shot in, and Max was like, I don't like him, and then
sketchy.
Yeah, and about like an hour in, I went, I don't like this guy.
Every time.
I totally get it.
Yeah. I didn't really care for the music either.
Okay.
I mean,
I get that.
What even was
it
the
kind
music?
of went like really way too much into it. Like the guy John's just watching like this video of his wife, and she was like having a conversation, and it's like it should be a bit more restrained, but it's like it just like goes in with like dun 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 dun. Look what he's watching, isn't it crazy? Oh, no, not really. Like he should have just watched it, and then he should have just like, and maybe there would be like a bit more subtlety with the music, and then like he just gets up and leaves, and then that could have been that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of like what he's going for, but I do kind of agree with that. It was composed by Cliff Martinez.
Yeah.
Apparently Soderbergh like told him to go for like a Brian Eno sort of ambient sound. It kind of has that very strange, like atmospheric, eerie tone. I liked it, but
they should have just asked Brian Eno then, shouldn't they?
nah, he probably cost too much money.
Yeah, but he's actually great. So
Yeah, but I mean, stringy budget, shoestring budget.
yeah, I suppose.
Cliff Martinez. This was his first film, so
Yeah, I don't have like all that much to say on it.
Also,
really.
I have nothing to
I just
say.
think it's like it's a fine movie, and I don't think I would watch it again. I think it's fine for what it is, and I don't know if it makes me like Steven Soderbergh like more or less. It's just like, here's a movie that he made, because his catalog is quite all over the place. I think I would be interested to like see a few more of his movies and maybe form a better opinion based on this. This won the Palme d'Or.
yeah, that's why I picked it. It was because it was
Insane.
I want to watch all of the Palme d'Or movies.
Yeah.
There was like a few other movies when I was looking through his filmography where I was like, oh, I actually really want to watch that. I kind of wish I picked that, but I want to go through all the Palme d'Or winners. He was like the youngest person to win it as well. He won it at 26.
That's great. That's crazy. I mean, congratulations. I do. It's not like completely out of the realms of possibility.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
like,
sick.
yeah, okay. Like this won the Palme d'Or. I'm not like
Yeah.
upset about that. It's like yeah, it probably would.
Yeah, the year after Wild at Heart won, so they were like really horny for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
What more do you expect from the French? Lovely. I also like the part where Anne is being interviewed by Graham, and then like about halfway through, she's like, it's like very subtle, but it's like you then realize that she's now interviewing him, and now he's the subject of the video, and it's being turned around on him, and he just gets really uncomfortable with it.
I thought that was the best scene of the film. I thought that was really fantastic, that scene.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think Andy McDowell was like fantastic.
Yeah, she was really great.
They were both great, and they ended up together, and then they were just like, yeah, all right, we'll be fucking weirdos together.
Yeah.
What a weird, like, imagine getting a girl from like doing that. And he got the girl, even though he was a massive creep.
Good
He
for
just
him.
had to be a little less of a creep than a husband, and that's fine. But they were all kind of weird. They were all weird people. All
Yeah,
creepy, weird people.
it was so unsettling.
What should we rate it out of?
Grams.
Grams. Okay. Yeah, I thought this film was great. Really interesting, like debut for Soderbergh. I like a lot of what he's going for. I would definitely be interested in checking out the Criterion at some point and watching it again when I can actually like hear all the dialogue and like read the subtitles for the bits I miss as well. But yeah, I think I'd give it like a 8 grams out of 10.
He doesn't even know how to say
8
it.
grams. Yeah.
Maybe it'll go up on another watch. Who knows?
Yeah, I liked it. I'm not gonna watch it again though. I got what I got out of it. I don't think it's a movie that I would get more out of on the second watch. So appreciate what it's going for. I'll give it a 6 grams out of 10.
100% not for me. 5 grams out of 10.
Cool.
Oh well, you don't know till you try.
It's true.
And if you never try, you never know. Side effects. Steven Soderbergh, 2013. This was the last movie he was ever going to make. But then he made more. So, side effects. This is a psychological thriller. It's about drugs. And Rooney Mara is a woman who takes drugs. Maybe. And then Jude Law. No. Okay. So, Channing Tatum gets out of prison. He is Rooney Mara's husband. And then Rooney Mara tries to kill herself. She goes to Jude Law. He's her therapist, and he goes, you need to be on drugs. So she goes on drugs. It's all about drugs. It's about culpability, and like how can you be culpable if you're like under the effects of drugs, and like it's a lot to do with, I think, the American healthcare system and drug abuse, and like it's also like a lot about like corporate stuff, and like how companies will like sell drugs to people and just to make money off of it. And it's like it's a super like dramatic movie. It's really dramatic, but it is what it's going for. I quite liked it though. I'd never seen it before. I know Chris has.
Yeah.
First time me seeing it, I bought this DVD like a week ago, I think. I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch this for the Steven Soderbergh one. Just how it happens, I bought a movie by him. I got it because Rooney Mara was in it, and I really like Rooney Mara. So that's why I wanted to watch it. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's interesting enough. It holds the attention for me, at least. What do you guys think?
This was actually my favourite of the 3.
Yeah? Nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
really like this one. I'm a bit of a sucker for the kind of like psychological, like thriller kind of thing. Like I really love films like Hide and Seek and stuff like that. So I kind of, like Secret Window and stuff. I just had a great time. Also love Jude Law and Rooney Mara. So it was kind of like two sexy people at the same time.
I love Jude Law's voice.
The second I saw him, I was like,
voice.
He
He
does
has
have a
such a
great voice.
nice voice.
I think what I, well, apart from that, I'm actually gonna kind of go into like kind of how I think Jude Law's character was like really, really like captivating. There was something about
he's
it.
really
it was
interesting. It's
yeah,
like,
it was so interesting, and like you almost like kind of like hooked on what was going to happen to him and like what was happening all around, everything that was going on. You kind of wanted to know how it ended.
yeah, he's like very morally ambiguous. That's kind of like where a lot of the interest for me comes from. Is just watching this character and not really knowing what his motives is or like where he lies in terms of whether he actually cares for these patients, or whether he just, you know, wants money and is just gonna do all this shit to make more money.
Yeah, you can never tell whether he was a good, but then it's not really about whether he's going to be a good person or a bad person. There's kind of like this weird grey area in between, and I kind of like the fact that you could see him as a good person doing bad things or a bad person trying to do good things, and I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how, I don't know, I just really enjoyed this film. This film was mwah, chef's
It
kiss.
flips the script a lot. It's like, I thought
It
this
does.
thing about this person, but now something's changed a bit, and
Yeah.
now I don't feel the same way about this person. I feel a different way about this other person, and
It just
it's like
flip-flops
it's
constantly.
this weird cat and mouse game between Rooney Mara and Jude Law, and it's like, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? Are they both bad guys? Are they both good guys? Who's like a victim of like the drugs that is being prescribed to Rooney Mara, and like, is he the bad guy for like prescribing her so many drugs, or is he just doing his job and like because that's what he's been told to do?
Yeah, it kind of like then goes into like this really like Hitchcockian, like almost lay diabolique sort of like mystery thing. For me, that's kind of where I lose interest a bit. I find it really interesting where it's like all about like the drug side and whether, you know, Jude Law, what he did was right or wrong. When it gets into the whole thing where it's like Rooney Mara was actually having an affair and she faked everything, that's when I'm like, okay, I don't really care anymore.
It's a bit ridiculous in the aspect because did it really have to be? But at the same time, I don't know. I really kind of, I like the fact that it kind of kept you thinking for like a really long time, if that makes sense. Like there was parts of it where I went, oh man, you can never really tell what a person's actually going to be like their true intentions. God, that's fucking horrifying, because you spend almost like the whole film kind of believing that she's just like this innocent woman who's like done something bad because of circumstances, and then you think, fuck, she's a piece of shit. And I love that. Like I it was almost like an assassination of character, and I just enjoy psychological movies so much.
Yeah, that was great. I think they both did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
It was, it's like, it got me thinking about like, it's so sad just like how companies or like the American in healthcare takes advantage of people. And I think it had to be set in America. You can't set this in like the UK, because like everybody's like paying through the nose for fucking medication that maybe they don't even need. And
yeah,
it's like in this one instance, she happened to like kill her husband, and they say it was because she was on the drugs. And it's like this whole court thing that goes to court, and they had to prove that it wasn't her fault, but it was like the drugs she was on. And it's like, it just got me thinking about like how a lot of these prescriptions like really fuck you up.
Yeah,
There's,
like
so many side effects.
Yeah,
know?
like I think the bit that I found the saddest, because it was like the most accurate to life, was there was that woman sitting with Jude Law, and she's going through all of these forms and how much money she has to pay for medications, and he's like, oh, if you want to go on this drug trial, you don't have to pay for them anymore. And then she just gets the pen and she's like scribbling like no belief. And I think medication is so expensive.
It's a predatory business.
It is. It's really horrific. Like, lucky for us, because you know we have the NHS and things, you only have to pay like £9 per like one prescription. But I understand that for some families, like on like the breadlines and stuff, it might be the case of them not getting it or whatever. But £9 in the grand scheme of things is so good compared to, I think a prescription over there is about $300 or something like ridiculous.
I think it's really interesting the way the film kind of tackles like big pharmaceutical companies. It reminds me a lot of Contagion in how that kind of, you know, like it almost satirizes like governments and how they would like how poorly like plans they are, and how, you know, if a pandemic was to hit, how bad it would turn out, obviously, which ended up happening. I feel like the way tonally, especially the way it kind of tackles pharmaceutical companies and how like greedy and how little they care about people actually is. It was like very similar to that film.
Yeah, it's really sad, especially when they're talking about these, I don't know, these cases of people like murdering under the influence or whatever, and you just think they're just reading it like it's like it's just whatever. Like, it's just so creepy.
Yeah, I was reading that there's actually been something like 50 something documented cases of like people being murdered during like people sleepwalking, maybe due to drugs.
Up to the year
medications.
2005, it says there have been around 68 documented cases of homicidal sleepwalking.
Yeah.
It's so
Nah,
fucked up.
None of that.
These drugs, they change your entire personality sometimes, and it's like,
Yes.
what do you do?
Yeah, like especially if you're on like the wrong medications and things. Like you see these people that are, especially in this film, because they're prescribed like SSRIs and stuff. And if you're on like the wrong ones and stuff, they really fuck you up. Like you see people that used to have like a personality, they're zombies. They're just fucked. And I just think it's so sad. But I know in this country especially, they try to like wean you off of them after about 2 years because you're not supposed to be on them for too long. And I assume that's why, because they really, really fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean, like for me personally, when I was on antidepressants, I actually found a lot of the time they made me feel even more depressed. Like
They're supposed to, apparently, though. They're supposed to make you feel worse and then better. But it's that
for me,
course
they
in between.
never really did that. They just kind of made me feel a lot more suicidal and depressed, and kind of just ruined everything for me. And then as soon as I stopped taking them, I like felt this huge shift where suddenly I was so much better and haven't really had an episode since.
No, it's like, it really is like circumstantial on like the person, like how it affects them. Like when I don't take my anxiety meds, it's just I'm just a fucking disaster. So it really just depends on like the person.
Yeah.
But I think there are cases for,
of course.
Yeah, of course. Like I was on like sertraline for a long time, and I think that stuff is the devil's fucking spawn. I would never take that shit again if you paid me. It's fucking horrible. But like, it's just one of those things. It's like I really hate the idea of it's. I don't know. Like this film kind of also gives me that vibe of just stick people on medication before you've tried like everything possible.
It's a new drug. They say.
And I don't appreciate that.
New.
Yeah. All right. Don't take what's new. How about try every other? I feel like it's a bit like when it should be like the last resort, really. But I know that we are in like a kind of broken healthcare system where if you have to wait 8 months to see like a therapist, you're better off just taking the medication because that will probably help quicker. But once again, I'm not going to start ranting on about how I'm an advocate for like better NHS mental health systems, because I could go on about that for years. But it's what that film kind of gives to me is like how just how sad and predatory like the whole kind of thing is, and it's, I don't know, maybe depressed a little bit.
Well, in this film, obviously, it shows how these people like they kind of benefit from people taking their drugs.
Yeah, benefit from suffering.
They make more money from it because they have to obviously sell it. You've got Jude Law's character who's like possibly got this deal with this like pharmaceutical company to kind of push their drugs more.
Yeah, 50 grand as well. Like, it's just, I do wonder how, because obviously I know we pay through our stuff through like taxes, right? That's how it generally works, right? But how much does medicine actually cost?
Probably not as much as we pay for it.
And I only say that because up until a couple of years ago or so, you could get paracetamol on prescription. I don't know how much that would have been, but you can pick up a box for like 50p.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how much like drugs actually cost.
It's like they trend as well. It's like, here's the new trendy drug that you gotta try.
Yeah.
And it's like, there was a point where they said that these companies invested in the stocks of a drug and then they made it popular so that their stocks shares would like go up.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrendous. Oh my God. There's so many points in this movie where I was like, oh my fucking God. There's so many like, what the fuck moments. There's like the point where like she drives into the wall.
Oh yeah, I remember all three of us just kind of went silent. We were like, fuck.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Why did she do that?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie since it came out. I think like not long after its release, it went on to Netflix and I watched it on there. And that was like one of the only things I really remembered from it. Obviously, watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this bit and this bit. But the only bit that really stuck in my mind was her driving into the wall.
I really loved watching Max rewind it, and he went, "What did I miss?"
Fuck? Yeah, I thought I missed something. But it's just it's really good at like throwing you for a loop, I think. And it's like, here's something you didn't expect that, did you? When she kills her husband, I was like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, that was
that scene
intense.
was like really brutal and crazy. Because
she just does it.
It's
like
out
out
of
of
nowhere.
nowhere.
There's no
like-
emotion on her face because she's so like whacked out on the drugs apparently, and it's when we find out she wasn't later. But it's like she's just so good at playing fucking just like she's just out of it. And she
Yeah.
just sticks the knife into him just over and over again, and I'm just oh my fucking god.
It kind of makes.
Oh my god.
It does make sense now though, because I thought, how was she perfectly chopping up those vegetables? I don't understand that.
I thought like
that
he was
fucking
gonna
horrible.
like go to her and like she just like chopped her finger up into a bunch of pieces.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking. So at what point does she like slice her hand open or something? Just turns
'cause,
out
like,
she just goes. Pfft.
The opening of the movie is like their apartment and there's like blood all over it, and it's like there's really eerie music as it's like panning through the apartment, and then you get to this scene and you see all the things that they've set up in the intro, and you kind of like, oh shit, something's gonna go down, but you don't really know what's gonna happen.
And then when it does happen, you're like, oh my god! Like
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, like you're supposed to be prepared for it, but you're not.
No, yeah. I thought it was like really upsetting when like there was like this whole thing about like she set 3 places at the table. Why did she set 3 places if she only was expecting her husband home? And then it was like, oh, like she later we find out that she miscarried, and then it was like she set a place for her unborn child. I was like, oh my fucking god. She was like, what was it? She said, oh yeah, I set a place for Madeline, and like Madeline was her baby that she miscarried, and she said that the baby left because she didn't want to be inside a sad person anymore. I was like, oh my fucking god. Oh my god.
I mean, that bit was
It was
horrific.
so upsetting. It's just like so much about like how people like take advantage of like the depression, like how companies take advantage of people.
Yeah, but when you
healthcare.
when you actually find out what actually has happened, do you like how do I explain?
Like when you find out that she was kind of like she was kind of with it when she killed her husband. That's interesting because you're like, what was she thinking then? And she was like completely lucid. And you're like, oh, this is so fucked up. Like she just knew that it was happening.
Yeah, I do think it's like interesting the direction they take. For me, that's just where I'm like, I feel like there was so much like great, really interesting, dark shit going on in like the first half of the movie that when it becomes like this Hitchcockian like thriller, like murder mystery sort of thing, that's where I'm like, okay.
As soon as it switches to like who's gonna get who.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
okay.
I don't hate it. It's just I don't like it quite as much. I feel like that's where it kind of loses steam. But it's not like bad. I do think the stuff like the mystery angle in the second half is good and it's handled really well.
Yeah.
It's just I don't find it quite as interesting.
No, sure. I mean, it's still propped up by like the great acting and like, all these people doing fantastic jobs.
Yeah, I think no one delivers a bad performance in this. It's nice to see Channing Tatum act like properly.
Yeah, it was quite a weird thing to see, wasn't it?
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's not
just
bad.
like most of his movies, he's like just like the action beefcake, and that's kind of about it.
The
He's
action
hot.
beef.
Yeah, I like seeing him actually try and actually put in a proper performance.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
I like the way you said that.
He's not in it for much of the movie, but he delivers a solid go of it, you know?
Yeah, you really believe he's like this character who, you know, he's fucked up in his life, but he wants to get better and he wants to he wants to deliver them a good life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's also about like the prison system, I guess. We don't, do we know what he did?
Insider trading.
I assume he was, a drug dealer or something? I don't really know what insider trading means.
It was like companies who like...
Oh, maybe it was fraud?
It was like fraud, that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me, but
I was going to
super
look
clued
into it, but I completely forgot.
So a quick Google insider trading, see if that helps.
Yeah. Just get added to a watch list.
Not if I put insider trading meaning. And they'll be like, just looking it up. The illegal practice of trading on the stock exchange to one's own advantage through having access to confidential information. So yeah, that was like when they would
like sell
push
each
a
other
blitzer
info.
because
yeah.
they had already invested in its stocks.
Yeah. Okay,
And then they made
that
it more
makes sense.
popular, you know? Yeah. Oh, it all comes back. It's all a full circle.
Quite clever though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend it's not.
Another thing I thought was quite clever was like when Jude Law placebos Rooney Mara with the salt water, and she's like acting really out of it and like telling him things that she shouldn't be telling him. I was like, wow. If you didn't even like know that was like what was happening, like why did you tell him all that stuff? But it was like, it's the placebo. That's why.
Yeah.
It's the power of suggestion.
Something else I really liked about the movie was the score from Thomas Newman. Very, very distinctive of his style, but I thought it fit the film really well.
Yeah, a lot of like fast bell sound effects. They kind of reminded me of Contagion. And it's like beep, 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 boop, boop, and then you're like, whoa, what the hell? What was that? It's like it's trying to disorient you a bit. It's like, did you take a drug?
Yeah, a lot of
make you
like
think about that.
pianos and like harsh strings, like he did with Requiem for a Dream as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a movie.
And backs up all like the imagery. Like when she like looks in the mirror and like half her face is just like squished in on itself.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's a great
Whoa,
shot.
Oh my god. It's one of the best shots. So cool.
It was like really interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. You've convinced me. You're good. You're great.
I think that like the presentation of her anxiety early on as well is really well handled. Like it actually kind of feels real. Like it feels like it's like handled by someone who kind of understands what it's like to be in those shoes.
She's like shaking. She's like, oh my god, I can't handle it. She like goes to Jude Law and she's like, I need to talk to you like right now. And like when he's like talking to his wife just out in the open, she's like, I need to take you aside and you need to like help me. It was all like really interesting, and especially I found it like really disturbing when like she was in the hospital and like they had to like, she was like, I'm trying to use the phone, get off the phone, and then they like try to force like meds down her throat, and she was like just screaming because she wasn't actually ill, and like she knew that she wasn't ill, but it was just like this, and she gotten herself kind of into this position on her own, but like now she was a victim of it. It was horrible.
The ending is like really great as well, where Jude Law kind of double crosses her, where she's like, okay, we'll double cross my partner, and then he's like, actually no, fuck you.
Yeah.
And he like gets her admitted like into a hospital and put on more drugs.
Yeah. Oh my god. He kind of he won, I think.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, maybe he deserved to win because she had kind of fucked him over quite a lot. This is great. This is a great movie. Should we go on to ratings?
Sure.
We'll do it out of placebos.
Nice.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I don't know if I enjoyed it more the first time because, like I said, I don't really remember the first time I watched it, but I'm definitely glad I watched it again. I do think it's a really well-made movie, even if I'm not as into the second half as I am the first. But I give it like 7 placebos out of 10.
I'm kind of along the same lines. I would like to watch it again at some point. It might be my favourite of his, I think. It's probably my favourite of his that I've seen. And this and these movies and Contagion, that's what I've seen. But yeah, this is probably my favourite. I like it a lot. I'll give it 7 placebos out of 10.
It's probably my favourite also, but I also haven't seen that many movies, so I'll say favourite so far. Yeah, it was cool. 8 placebos out of 10.
Awesome.
Oh god. Now I've got to talk about a movie.
Mike.
Sorry, I'm actually just got to get it up. Normally I have this prepared, but
I'll keep chanting Mike until you... Mike.
I unfortunately cared so little about this movie that
This is a movie about Mike Wazowski,
Yeah.
a small town monster with big dreams.
Well, it's actually about Mike, an experienced stripper who takes a
Didn't
younger
even say what it's called. No one
Everyone
knows.
knows it's Magic Mike.
No, they don't. You
Right.
didn't say what it
Well,
was.
we said it earlier. Everyone knows it's Magic Mike, okay? Everyone in the world apparently loves Magic Mike, and it's about a guy who is a stripper, but he also wants to own his own businesses and stuff, and just recruits this guy called the Kid, and they go around partying, fucking, and selling smack. There you go. There's your movie. Fuck this movie.
He
Take it
recruits
over.
Alex Rider from Stormbreaker.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know who he was until someone was like, he's so sexy.
He's hot. But he's like 19. He's supposed to be 19. Which is a bit dicey. They're like, yeah, we'll just get him anyway.
Apparently the new one's meant to be directed by him though, because the second one wasn't.
Yeah. Maybe he'll bring it back to the quality of this movie.
It's no Hustlers, but it'll do.
Yeah. It's bad. It sucks. It's awful.
Yeah,
I hate this movie. Hate it so much. It's awful. It sucks and it's awful. I just, God, what the fuck? What were they thinking?
Yeah, it was.
What were they thinking,
it was
bro?
another one of these movies where I turned around and Max was just, agony. I could just tell he was like dying. Like you could just see him going.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens in this movie. They're men and they strip. And people love it. They love this movie. Why do they love this movie? Anyone tell me? Because they're men and they strip. That's why they love it. There's male strippers. Channing Tatum's hot. Matthew McConaughey's hot. Alex Rider is hot. That's it. That's why people love this movie. That's fine. Whatever. This is not for me. Fucking fuck this movie. Fuck this movie so much. Look, the dancing, it's alright. The dancing's pretty good.
Yeah,
I quite like the dancing.
It is good.
I thought Channing Tatum did pretty well with the dancing.
They're quite
Nothing
talented,
else,
actually,
though. Yeah,
I would say.
really good.
Yeah.
Everything else sucks, though. Everything else about this movie sucks. There's no driving force. There's no plot. There's nothing that happens, and you're supposed to like go with it. If you don't like if you don't care about like what's happening with like the dancing and like or like what's happening with like. Oh, Channing Tatum, he's like he's charismatic. It should ride on like the charisma of these actors, and it's just like that. I just didn't find them charismatic. It's just like, yeah, just do it, just go along with it. I don't know, fuck it. It's like they were asking Steven Soderbergh, where's this going, Steven? And he's just like, we're done when I say we're done. Whatever. It's like you just like wanted to watch them dance a bit more. It's just like, all right.
I mean, I think the worst part of this film was actually Cody Horn.
Yeah.
She was the worst part about this movie.
Didn't you say she was like the daughter of the Warner Brothers president?
She is indeed.
So
I read that on Letterboxd.
Definitely the only reason why she's in this movie, because it's a Warner Brothers movie.
But Chris, I need to ask you, as the only person who gave this higher than like a 4 or something, can you tell me why you
Just
actually
spoiling my rating for everyone.
I didn't tell them what the rating was.
For me, this is a film where Max is like settling in, ready for me to come in.
We're ready to tear you apart, my man. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say this is a film I loved or really liked. This is a film where there's a lot of ideas that I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I just wish they went a bit further with that. I don't hate the movie. I don't think it's a terribly made movie. There's a lot I really don't like about it. But there's ideas here and there that for me like stopped it from being boring.
Right,
or the worst
I'm
thing
telling
ever.
you now, I would rather watch the full Monty. Like, no joke.
You said that a lot.
And do you know why? Because this film is similar to that film.
It's because people strip.
It's so much better than this film. This film fucking is just not good. The full Monty's great.
The film this reminded me the most of was Boogie Nights. And that's kind of how, like, because there's like characters.
Is that John Travolta film?
No.
What am I
It's
thinking?
like characters in a.
That's the other dancing movie, right? That Saturday
Night Fever.
Oh, right, yeah.
Boogie Nights is about the 70s porn industry. So it's about like workers in a similar field. About the characters kind of like being sucked up into the darker side of it and the whole idea of like vanity and stuff. And that's something like this film kind of hints at. And that's the bits where I'm like, I think this is like actually interesting when they are like going into the dark side of it and how it's like really easy to be sucked up in just the vanity side and how it's basically like you're partying every night almost and how that can consume you and destroy you. They show that with the kid, this character who kind of at first he gets sucked into the world, and then suddenly he's now dealing drugs, and he loses all the drugs, and now he like owed like 10 grand to these guys he sold the drugs to, but he's also an addict and wakes up like in a pool of vomit, and it's kind of like very directionless. But when they actually start getting to like, okay, maybe there's like some actual consequences, and we're going to see this character, actually get his comeuppance, the film just ends.
Yeah. So I'm only laughing because every time I look at Max, he looks like he's just ready to like just destroy.
One thing I will say is that I think you've said the word suck a bit too many times on this podcast, Chris. on this episode, I think you've said the word suck too many times.
I have a feeling that
tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a Mike night.
I just think he's got suck on the brain because you watched the second one, didn't you? He's got it on the brain, Max.
Yeah. Was that any good?
I was going to wait till we finished.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I didn't like how yellow this movie was.
It was very yellow, very ugly.
It was shot with double straw filters, which is like a resin filter that you put over the camera lens that basically has this like yellow tone.
Oh, they did
really ugly.
Okay, that makes sense though.
They were like, they wanted that to be like all the outside shots, but anytime they were in a club, they wanted it to be much more like vibrant and neon looking.
Okay.
And although I kind of get that, I think they just went too far with it.
Yeah, because there's loads of outdoor shots.
And the beach looks like it was poisoned.
Yeah, everything looks like yellow and pissy.
It looks like someone threw up on the camera.
It's not very nice. Yeah, it's like proper muggy as well. It looks really weird.
Yeah, and you say it's like, I think it's like well made, but I don't think it's well made even. Like really, apart from like the club scenes, I don't know. But even then, it's like, how can you have like a normal conversation, like normal volume when you're like in a club and you should be shouting at people? It's like, it's just like, yeah. I guess we could go to the club and we could strip. How do you feel about stripping? And he's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll do that. I didn't like the character of Alex Rider. I didn't like him.
No.
He was like why?
That's why I wanted to see him get his comeuppance, because he is like he's an arsehole. Yeah. He gets really sucked up into it and thinks he's like the best person ever.
Yeah. Please stop. I was just like, half the movie is not even about him. The movie is called Magic Mike and it's about Alex Rider, but then it's like halfway through it's like, now it's about Magic Mike, who wants to like have a real job or whatever. He wants to sell furniture. Who cares?
Yeah,
he like goes to like this like woman and he's like, I want to sell my furniture, and she's like, you maybe not, Mike. And he's like, damn, nothing ever works out for a small town boy like me. Oh, stop it, I don't care. And then he like runs away at the end, and I'm like, fucking who cares?
Yeah, that's something else I wish was like delved into a bit more, was because they like talk, there's like a scene where he goes to like the bank to get a loan out on like so he can start his like dream business that he wants to do, but they won't give him a loan. Like, and the whole point of the character is that he doesn't want to strip, he's just doing it because he's good at it and the money's good, and he's like, his dream is to start his own business. And I really wish they delved into that a bit more, like delved into like the whole idea of like living in a recession and, you know, the things you do for money and how far you'll stoop, like, because he's a character who really doesn't seem to be enjoying this lifestyle.
Yeah, but they don't really. It's just like things that happen, and they're like, I guess maybe we'll put like a bit of a struggle in this scene. And it's like nothing was ever like alluded to. It's just like, I guess they'll struggle in this one, and that'll be the low point or whatever. Like the guy Alex Rider, he like throws up, and his sister's like, I can't believe you threw up. And it's like, okay, like fucking, like, why do you care? Why do you care? He's like, she's like, I'm really supportive of you, but when you throw up, that's just not right, Alex. And I'm like,
please leave my home. Why does she care
so much about like I don't know, maybe I need a better relationship with my sister or something. Like, will we do that for each other? I don't know, but it just, they don't interact enough for me to believe that like they love each other to that degree. either, because the characters in this are just not like.
Yeah, and
They're
why?
not much,
and
and
like-
she's just really bad. So like every
Yeah,
time
she
she's in a scene, the scene's automatically worse for it, and she never comes across as believable in any sense.
Yeah.
And that brings like everyone else down as well.
Do you know what? I think the thing that really annoyed me the most was that there's obviously that scene where the goons come in and is like,
The Gooners.
Mike, we need 10 grand because Alex has pissed it all on this drugs that he couldn't sell, and it like never ever comes back up. Like, well, it does because Brooke goes, "Oh, thanks, Mike, for paying that 10 grand for him." But like, how come he never gets like his butt kicked by Mike because he's like, "That was my 10 grand for my business, you stupid
Well, you don't
asshole,"
really
and
see him
nothing
do
happens.
it, and then they're
Nothing
like,
happens.
"Thanks for doing that, Mike," and he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah. What do you mean, yeah? You're not happy about this. Why don't you just beat the shit out of him? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but 10 grand's a lot of bloody money. He saved up for that so he could start his shitty looking furniture business. And you're telling me that you're just going to let him just go, "Yeah, man, thanks for that. I'll buy you a beer one day, but not right now because I only have enough money for my Porsche." Like, what are you talking about? I hated him.
Yeah, that's like pretty much all the money he's saved up, like to achieve his dreams.
Yeah, and he's just spunked it away because some little dickhead was going to get punched in the face. But just let him. I've just been like, he is over there and I will be over here.
Yeah.
I'm not that good a friend. I would, I 100% would have just sold him out.
You like, it really relies on you like caring about the characters and like what they get up to. But it's like, oh, who cares? Like they go to like that party and then they strip and then like he loses the drugs and that's supposed to be like a big thing, but like it doesn't really amount to anything. And like I feel like they were trying to go for like a low point there, but it was like it didn't really feel like a low point. It's just like, because they don't, if they wanted that to be a low point, they should have like they should have sprinkled bits in like beforehand, like maybe he'd sold some drugs before or whatever, and like this was like his big moment to like prove himself or something, and then like, he's like, "Oh man, I can't believe I fucked up." Then he gets in the car, he's like, "Woo, that was epic, I'm awesome." And I'm like, "You don't learn anything." No,
and he just never seems to either.
That was honestly like my biggest problem with the movie. Like, I think he really did need to learn a lesson for the film to kind of have this satisfying ending, but he doesn't. Nothing really happens at the end. Just like Mike's like, "Oh, I actually don't want to be a stripper anymore. Also, I love this girl."
Yeah.
It was a terrible actress.
Alex, I love your sister.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
All right.
Nothing happens to Alex because like he carries on stripping.
Yeah,
And
nothing
I was
happens,
like, something should probably happen to him. But at that point, it was like, just end. I don't even care if you wrap up anything. And then they were like, we got you, bro. And then it didn't. It didn't wrap up anything.
And then the film ended and Max went, "Thank God for that."
Yeah.
There's just not much to it, you know?
No.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of, when you see like a hangout movie and not a lot happens, but I feel like it kind of progresses the story. I just felt like we were just watching like nothing really. It was really weird. I don't know. It's just
They're sexy.
a lot of sexiness.
They're sexy
and that's
because they
it.
dance and they're ripped. That's why it's great.
Yeah.
That's probably it, to be
there
honest.
was a lot of trimming down that could have been done. There's like easily 20-30 minutes like at the end of the first act, beginning of the second act, that just didn't need to be there at all.
I would argue that there's an hour and 51 minutes that didn't need to be in this movie at all.
Got him.
The music choices in the film have also really, really dated the movie.
It really did, didn't it? But I wasn't angry because there was one point where Matthew McConaughey is kicking off about Mike leaving, and you can just hear Sean Paul's "Got to Love You" in the background. And I fucking love Sean Paul, so I was like, yes.
The problem I didn't have was like the like electronic pop and like synth pop and shit that was playing like in the clubs and stuff, and like the R&B. I thought like that was really, really fitting of the movie. Like when they played that song "Pony" that Darcy was complaining about.
I hear it on TikTok sometimes. I just don't like
Played
it.
this a couple of times in the second film. Actually, there's like a scene where that's what convinces him to strip again. As
Oh, he hears it and he
in-
goes,
the song.
I remember
comes
Pony.
on his Spotify shuffle.
That's very off the time.
Yeah,
I like that, actually.
But yeah, then there's like a lot of like really cringy indie rock that plays like in montages, and it's like this doesn't really fit the tone or basis of the scenes. Like the lyrics don't sync up to what's happening at all. It's just like really weird.
Doesn't need to. It's a cool song. It's
Yeah,
a cool
I
song. I like
guess
the
that's what
song
it
and
is.
put it in this movie.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't.
It's
It's not
like
relevant, is it? I guess.
they just like handed in like a playlist of songs, and they were like, just do whatever.
They were
Yeah.
like, this
I
is
like these songs, put 'em
2012.
there.
Yeah.
Well, it has a really, really low budget. It was like 6.5 million, so they
Yeah.
probably couldn't afford many songs.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy.
It was like
made
entirely-
so much fucking money.
Yeah, 167 million. It was like entirely self-financed by Channing Tatum and Steven
Oh,
Soderbergh.
wow.
Because it was like a passion project for Channing Tatum, because it's like loosely based on like his experiences as a stripper before he became an actor.
Oh,
It's like he'd been trying to make this
okay.
movie for years. Nicholas Winding Refn was supposed to be directing it at one point, but there was like production halts, and he did Only God Forgives instead, which is a real
Wow.
shame, because I think he could have actually done something interesting with the
Yeah.
movie.
Only God Forgives fucking sucked.
Yeah, I've
I
heard
got
it's not
through
good.
like half of that movie, and I was like, this is boring.
I've
But
not
he's
even
like a-
heard of it.
He's like an auteur. He's like
Yeah.
a really great director who
Oh, I love
does
him.
interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like if he tackled the story, he could have done something actually unique and interesting with it.
Mhm.
Probably would have delved into the themes that it seemed like Soderbergh was too afraid to actually kind of go into.
Yeah. And it probably would have looked better.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't have looked like sick.
His movies look lovely.
So like, just yellow tinge.
Yeah. Steven Soderbergh's like, I want this to look like Contagion.
I want everything yellow.
I want everyone. It looks like everyone's sick. I want everyone to look jaundiced, and just like decrepit. Like everyone's like really either super skinny or super really buff, and like there's like one fat guy, and like everybody else is just like, don't you want to be them?
Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
oh,
Everyone looks like they're in their prime,
Yeah.
but when you put that yellow filter on top of everyone, everyone looks like they're dying.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I feel like Soderbergh, he's a good director, but he kind of just does what's handed to him. He
Yeah.
doesn't really like take over and like,
He's not a passion project
yeah,
man.
not really. Obviously, I think he's done some passion projects, like maybe especially early in his career. But I think you needed someone who wants to go into like more experimental and different territories. Like I think of something like Red Rocket that came out recently. Like if Sean Baker directed this film like that, it could have been something actually quite memorable and
Yeah, Red
interesting.
Rocket was great. You can't.
If Sean Baker had directed this movie, it would be fucking disgusting.
Yeah, but that's probably what it needed.
yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel gritty enough, did it,
It's
for a
just like
stripper
too tame.
movie?
It's just trying to turn on like mums, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess it did because it's a hit.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
There was like Mike and like Alex's sister. They like have a conversation at this fun fair. Everything's like yellow because it has to be, and like it was like a really long scene, but like it added absolutely nothing to like the plot because there was no plot. But it was like they're just like, oh, I kind of fancy you, and he's like, well, I kind of fancy you too, and then they're like, that's crazy, wow, and it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. There's some kind of like the first film. The dialogue is very natural. A lot of it is very real. But there's points where it's like
It's too real.
Yeah.
Because in
Or
real
it's
life, you
like-
don't need to advance a plot.
Yeah, or it's like, okay, this like conversation it feels like a real conversation, but what is the purpose
Yeah.
of this conversation? Why are we watching it?
That's where they dropped off. Maybe they thought if we just make it like a real conversation, then it's like good
Yeah.
and great. But it's like, dude, in real life, nobody's thinking about like how a conversation they're having with just a mate like advances anything. You don't like stop mid conversation to say I'm not going to remember this in 3 months, am I? I'm just going to leave. That's
Yeah.
not what happens.
But obviously, with like a movie, you only show the stuff that's
Relevant
and relevant.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the point in having this
Yeah.
fucking just a lot of scenes actually that just like go, I guess like fucking they like go and they like have like go to brunch or something, or like they'll go to like let's go to a beach or like let's jump in a river. And it's like, what was the point of that?
I think that's just the problem with letting a director edit his own movies,
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to be very clouded about what needs to be in it and what doesn't need to be in it, because they're like so sucked up by the movie that they're going to just think, oh, I bet all of it needs to go in. That's like, I feel like that's a problem with a lot of like directors' cuts of films as well. Sometimes you like watching, there's like multiple scenes where you're like, there's a reason why this was cut originally.
Yeah. So, I just, he didn't make very good decisions with this. I don't think. I didn't.
No.
Was there like at least like another person editing it with him?
No.
Was he like, oh yeah, well that's what you need. I don't have much of a problem with directors editing their own movies if like they're editing it with somebody else and like who could be like, well, maybe we don't need this, or like they have like they can bounce ideas off of each other, because like a movie lives or dies in the edit. Like if you've done a bad job with the editing, it's fucked completely.
Yeah, I think most of his films he directs, edits, and does the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
This included, obviously.
Yeah, it didn't work, Stephen. I'm sorry.
No.
Just a shame. I mean, there's a good movie in here somewhere. That's what's like. That's what was like upsetting to me. It was like, you could have made a really good male stripper movie with like deep themes and like that explored like this industry and how it can like take advantage of people, or like how it can, or like how people do this just for the money, or like because it was set in like that kind of recession time, like
And that's why
what people
Hustlers
would
is
do
great.
for money. Yeah, I've heard that it's a good movie. I actually haven't watched
I
it
love
yet.
that film.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't focus on male strippers, it focuses on
No.
female strippers, but
Yeah.
that film kind of actually delves into those themes like quite well. And plus, it was set after the crash of the stock market and stuff. So it's a really good film.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, Matthew McConaughey, he was actually pretty good, and he won like a few awards for this one for best supporting actor.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, there was a lot of like people saying, "Oh, he's going to be nominated for an Oscar for this." There was like a lot of Oscar
An
buzz, and
Oscar?
it just didn't happen.
No, I mean, well,
Not sure about an Oscar, but
I think he's really good in the movie.
I
I
liked
liked
him,
him.
but not an Oscar.
I think Channing Tatum's also good,
mhm.
even if I don't think the character's that interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel
does
like
what he can with the material, I guess.
yeah, there's a lot of good acting in this
Meh,
for the most part.
meh.
But yeah, there's a lot of I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just the material. It's just not great.
Yeah. Speaking of good films about male strippers, I also watched Magic Mike XXL.
You
Oh, yeah,
did.
cool.
I watched it today. I actually liked it. I
Mhm.
thought it was better than this movie.
Wow.
I did ask him that just before it finished.
It's weird you mentioned like hangout movies, because Double XL is a hangout movie. There's like basically no plot at all. The film is literally just, it starts off, Mike has got his business. He's still with, well, you think he's still with the woman from this, and
Brooke.
you find out later on that he proposed and she rejected him and they broke up. But yeah, he's got his own business. The strip club, Matthew McConaughey's character and the kid, they've like basically abandoned it to go to China to strip there for some reason. And the other guys have stopped stripping, and they find out about this convention that's like across country, and they go to Mike and they're like, we're thinking of like getting back together, doing this one last big thing. At first he's like, nah, fuck that. And then Pony plays and he starts like stripping in his construction building, starts like dancing while the song plays. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So the whole film's like a road trip kind of thing. It's just about all these characters interacting, talking. They go to like parties and meet up with other people, like Donald Glover. He just randomly shows up.
Oh, cool.
He shows up about an hour in the movie, raps. And
Does
then
he
he's like,
strip?
no.
Oh,
But you see him like half like topless. He's got like an open shirt.
okay.
But they like hire him to be like
He does
one
more
of,
than that at his gigs.
yeah. They hire him to be like one of the like rep people, like bigs up the guys like during the act. And yeah, it's just like kind of them hanging, going to parties, doing like big dance sequences. There's not really the story at all, but I thought it was actually quite entertaining. They do develop the characters quite well, that you actually kind of understand the characters and their personalities. The script again feels very natural, but it actually works. there's like multiple scenes where you're like, I don't think this is really needed, but that's kind of like the whole plot of the whole thing in the movie. None of the scenes are really needed, but it's well written, it's fun, the characters are actually quite likable, all the performances are good, and the dance sequences are really great as well, and it doesn't look like sick, which is also good.
It was extra large.
Yeah. Soderbergh didn't direct it, but he did still edit and do the cinematography, and it all looks good.
Yeah.
And the music's great as well. There's a big dance sequence at the end where they cut and like doing loads of mashups of songs, and one of the songs they cut into is "Closer" by 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, that was great. That was probably my favourite part of the 20 minutes I saw.
Lovely.
Yeah, I actually liked that movie.
Yeah, cool. I won't watch it.
No, you don't. Should we rate it?
I didn't find this one interesting at all because I was like tearing my hair out. I was like, this is just there's nothing here, man.
I'll be honest, if you didn't get anything out of this film in the slightest, I don't think the second one would win you over at all.
I like some of the dancing.
Brilliant.
Some of the dancing was alright.
Yeah. The second one has more of that.
Yeah.
It's more elaborate as well.
Yeah. And I like Matthew McConaughey.
He's not in the second one though.
Alright, I'm not going to watch it then. We'll do this one out of alright.
Yeah, I think this is just a film with a lot of wasted potential, sadly. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm not even sure I'd say I'd never watch it again because I didn't have a bad time. I could see this being a movie that I'm like, fuck it, it will kill a couple hours and putting on, even if I'm not really paying attention to it, just having it on in the background. But yeah, it's not amazing. I give it like 6 alright out of 10. Nice. It's like a very low 6. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I just get thinking like, isn't their money going to smell like sweat and cock? That's
disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, they did it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not my kind of movie. It's like the female fantasy movie. If you like hot, sexy men, I guess. If you're like a mum. I just fuck this movie. Honestly, it sucks so much. It's the worst one I've seen of his of Stevens. Yeah, it's not for me. I'll give it 3. Alright out of 10.
What? I feel like everyone's just kind of summed it up. I think you either like it or it's like one of the cringiest things you've ever seen. I just found it really uncomfortable, to be honest. I'm probably gonna give it 5 alright out of 10.
Nice. Suck. How many times have we said suck in this?
I don't know. Count it back, Chris, and you can tally it out. That's because it's too many.
Yes,
you have to actually listen to the episode.
Yeah. He doesn't even listen to these episodes when he edits them. It's just like, fucking noise on it. I'm done. Just cut off the end in the beginning. I'm done.
Chris, you can't reveal your industry secrets.
Okay.
Are we going to spin a wheel?
He like Christmas crackers it. He like just like snips off the 2 ends and he's like, that's fine. Put an effect on it. The effect is the little joke and the crown inside the cracker. Okay, we got a new one to do next week. We're coming back at you, coming hard, coming strong, coming fast.
Like Magic Mike.
Yeah! Yeah, fucking yeah!
If only, Chris, you understood.
Next one, Chris doesn't want to see us, so we're going to do one that we can watch at home and just like, whatever. Fuck it. So we're going to do it alone.
Yeah, got busy time.
He's got busy times.
Yeah,
I'm working a lot.
He's penning the new Magic Mike script.
Yes.
We're just going to scroll the wheel.
One Last Ride, I think it's called. They're actually making a third one.
Yeah, there is. I literally just
saw it this year, but now it's just not got a release date.
Yeah, they are. All right, we're going to do the spin the wheel of the marathons that we can do at home. We don't have to like.
We're gonna have to do that for like 2 weeks, though.
No,
what do you mean?
Just this week.
This week.
We're going to 9 Inch Nails the week after.
Yeah, we got the Sunday. This is a conversation for after we record it.
You always do this, Darcy. Why do you always do this to us?
Like to bring the schedule in.
Well, we got. What?
The cat.
Let's come up with biopics.
Biopics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already know what I would choose.
Okay then, biopics or bio pictures. In the next one, movies based on things or people that have happened or will happen, perhaps. Next time. I guess you'll just go into the description. You'll see them. I guess like you'll see what we've picked. That's always in there. That's it. Any last words for the crew?
There's a really pretty cat.
See you next time.
Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy. Damn.